Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. Kuntres HaTefila, 15 minutes. If you have missed any of the shiur, you can catch up. It's 15-minute shiur. Go on the YouTube page and find everything. Today we start a new parak, and I'm hoping that by Thursday, maybe Friday, we'll finish to the end. It's a straight road path, and then we'll go back to the beginning. And it's amazing stuff's happening over here. So just a quick summary of what we've been talking about till now. Chapter Yud, we talked about the fact that we can daven and really have that impact davening should have, which should affect our emotions and our Torah mitzvahs, really, and have that transformative feeling. Then we said in Yud Aleph, there's 5 steps to prepare ourselves, which we're going to talk about again today a little bit. Then Yud Beis, we said that it's not enough, the 5 steps. You have to realize you need to work on yourself. And then we said, and even people that do daven properly, but they don't, that was Yud Gimel, that even though they do daven properly, but they don't specify the details of the issue. And I guess one of the messages, there's so many messages to learn and to think about, but one of them is that we can't expect that miracles are going to happen overnight. And it takes time. We're just going to work on ourselves slowly but surely, bite-sized pieces, and we'll get somewhere. And so now in Yud Daled, we're going to discuss what a younger crowd, about meaning people that don't have the knowledge of Chassidus. So what do they do? And he's going to give very practical. I think it's very practical for a lot of us, this level, and especially for the time period that we have for davening that we set aside, how to daven and really have a beautiful daven. Number 14, a solution to spiritual self-delusion. Yeah, let's see. The youth should be subordinate to the elders. Now, they're actually for the youth. Now, page 136 on the top. The youth, having not yet studied enough Chassidus to have acquired a clear understanding in the specifics of contemplative themes, shouldn't promote themselves prematurely to the level of engaging in meditation, for they will be incapable of meditating at length and in detail, especially with the aforementioned deep delve and concentration. So he's saying like this, and you have this in yeshiva nowadays, that young people don't understand Chassidus well enough to really sit and think about it, and think about all the details. Meaning it's not enough just to say, God is great, I am small, and God is nice to me, and then we meditate. That's it. Meditation in order to meditate properly and to really think about it, you have to have a lot of details. It's to be very clear. It's like a picture. Picture has to be very detailed. It's like the beginning of a picture. They draw like the outline, the general color scheme, and then they start to add in the features of the person's face and all the little minor details. But you can't, it's not a complete picture when it's just the first layer of paint and things like this. And the problem is people are learning just that superficial level because they don't have the skills, let's say, at the moment. Well, they do, but they're not doing it. So you can't start meditating on that. It's not going to work. But there's a bigger problem that he's going to talk about. Because instead, they will merely delude themselves into believing they have succeeded in their contemplation and have an ecstasy. So the problem is, you don't know any better. So you're going to start sitting there, you're going to think about things, and suddenly you feel something, you're like, this feels good. I got it, I did it, and it feels good. Look at this, my life's going to transform itself. Now I'm more connected, all good. But he's saying, but that's not going to happen because it's not real. You're not there. You don't have the ability yet to do that. Though through this, they make matters worse by inuring themselves to self-delusion. Consequently, even after they have studied and know how to meditate well, they will become excited by the generality of a concept before having had the chance to contemplate on the specifics. They're saying the problem is, if they think this is what's real, but really there's a lot more to be had, they stop short, so to speak. You're near the jackpot, but you just stop short. Like, I found a coin. I see, I got it. It's like there's a jackpot just further on. But the problem is they don't know that because what they've experienced and what they've defined as proper proper meditation is not what it is. For them, maybe at that level was fine, but he's saying don't sit there and trying to do that, but you're not ready, and you're gonna confuse yourself. So firstly, they ought to study Chassidus with their friends. And this is very practical for us. This is something I think that we all can take. It's beautiful. We should learn with our friends, meaning when you learn by yourself, it's hard to explain everything to yourself because you're like, oh yeah, I know that. When you have a friend, you're bringing the concepts out. And subordinate themselves to the elders and be receptive to them. They should choose those topics they wish to study in depth, besides mandatory cursory studies. I guess talking about the Bachrim and Yeshiva. So they have specific things meant to study, but you should choose. So for ourselves, we should choose something to learn and then exert themselves in attaining knowledge of God and learn that concept well, learn it in all the details and learn it and then go over it and say, what does this mean? What does it mean to me? And really try to connect with the concept. It's not just that you learn it and you know it so well that you can repeat it by heart with your eyes closed. That's good, and that shows a level of learning, but he's saying learn it deeply in a way of understanding it. And you feel really connected to the concept. And you can learn it 3-4 times. Really, it's not and I easily I'd be happy to do that, learn something a few times. And that's what you should do. And you'll see you're more connected and you'll see more things and be like, and be more geschmack and more exciting. And then exert themselves and attain knowledge of God and a clear and thorough understanding of these subjects. After fulfilling the general preparation outlined above in chapter 11, section 1, you can look, also we have a class on that if you haven't seen it. But he's saying, so after we do that preparation of having a place set for ourselves, clearing our minds, and making sure we're clear to focus on davening, regarding the dispelling of one's troubles, the following should comprise of the service during prayer. So you're not on the level, we're talking about a person, we're not on the level you should start meditating so long, or I have those tools to be able to meditate well. So what should we do? First of all, come, sit down in the right place, clear your mind. And this is how your davening should be. And he's giving you step by step, straight, it's beautiful. Prayer should be offered from a fixed place and be read from a siddur. And he brings a quote from all these different places that the importance of reading from the siddur. It says Arizal would pray from a book so as to intensify his devotion. And the Rebbe was very much talking about reading from a siddur. So that's the first thing. You should look inside the siddur. The prayer should be recited very deliberately. It's beautiful. What does it mean deliberately? It means not just saying words. It means the words are coming from a focused place. You're saying it and you're thinking about it. And one should concentrate on the meaning of the words. Moderately audible. You should be able to hear what you're saying. It has to be loud, but you should be able to hear what you're saying. And when you say it, it's not just rushing out, but it's coming out with intent. You're focused. The words of prayer should be clearly articulated and should come alive and radiate for those who utter them on account of the spiritual sensation generated by their meaning. Meaning, he's saying, this is just typical davening, how it should be. If you're not going to sit there and have the time to meditate before davening, make yourself have a place. Of course, you need to spend time, maybe a different time, of learning Chassidus, and not just learning it, but really taking a concept of Chassidus, a Maimer, a Perek, a Tanya, and trying to live with them. So besides that, he's saying when you come to daven, this is how you should daven. And there's a story of a Chassid, a Bachir, he was in Temchet Tamim, that he really worked on himself. And he's davening. They say when you'd hear him daven, it sounded like he was talking to someone. He didn't say different words than we say. He said the same words, and this is so what it is. It's not that you're going to say something different, but it's the way you say it, the way you think about what you're saying, and when it's coming out, you're thinking about it. And and I think a good step is taking one paragraph, something that you know or something that you would like to know, learn the meaning of it, the translation of it, the meaning of it, and think about it. When you say it, the words come out. You read it in. If you're reading in Hebrew, so you read it, and having intent, not just that I can translate of intent and slow and thought out. And what does this mean? And connecting to it as you go. And as you accustom yourself to do it, you'll be able to daven and not have to stop so much. But you can go through it. It'll do a little slower pace than what you're doing now, probably, but it'll be a whole different experience. And that's how you should daven. And this is essentially the way to daven. This is like, this is the ikka of the book, I think, for a lot of us. It's like this, that say the words, think about what they mean, and say them loud so you can hear, and really just get involved in that. Now, the elders, and that's all about really is technically young children, not young children, younger people that haven't learned, but really talking about a person that doesn't have the ability to understand Chassidus yet, they haven't gone to that level. What about the elders? The elders, since it is impossible for them, top of 138, since it is impossible for them to always practice Avodah with the aforementioned expansive mind and heart, which we're going to get to chapters 3 and 4 in the beginning. But he's saying they don't have the ability or time to sit there and think for a long time and really concentrate on a moment every day, just like, because it takes a long time if you want to do that well and properly. So their prayer on occasion will also be as described above. So they should, older people that have the knowledge of Chassidus to think, to the younger kids don't have the knowledge, but the older people that do have the knowledge, even though they have the knowledge, they don't have the time or the resource, whatever it is. So they will be davening the same way, and this is sort of the standard how davening should be, with this reading it and being able to hear yourself and saying it in a way that it's measured. But they should not excuse themselves on a regular basis with such minimal service, since prayer demands the involvement of one's mind and heart, as explained earlier. But he's saying you can't just do that the rest of your life. You got to give yourself time. You got to work it out. You have time to daven properly. If you have the ability to daven, no excuses. You have to do it. And remember, we're talking about to spend time before davening and during davening to really meditate on concepts. If you have the ability to do it, you should do it. And he explains why here, and this is beautiful. 3 reasons for involvement in mind and heart. Firstly, due to the very definition of Avodah, which necessitates that one serve God through service of the heart, being that the way we daven, the idea of Avodah is that we have to serve Hashem with our hearts, to awaken genuine love and awe of God in one's heart, in order to fulfill the positive commandments to love God and to fear Him. As explains in Tanya in the beginning, that in order to serve God properly, you have to have true av and true yirah. And the way to have true av and yirah is through davening, not just davening, just reading the words, but also have that ability to contemplate and meditate first and to really connect to it. This is achieved through contemplation and deep delving concentration. How do you produce within yourself true av and yirah? Is by thinking about God and really thinking about concepts that talk about God and really connecting to it. In the manner explained above, as we explained before, as we're going to explain, like in the beginning chapter, as we're going to get to. The second, so therefore, that's why the older person that has the ability, or us, anyone that has the ability to really think about Chassidus and and understand how to really concentrate and learn and meditate on it, we can't excuse ourselves by not meditating. We've got to figure out some time and make it happen, because we have the ability. Why do we have to do it? Because that's the way to have true av and yirah, to serve God and to really have that connection with God, is really true feeling, emotion to God. It's only through this. And second, it is crucial to one's general observance of Torah and mitzvahs, since love is the motive source of the 248 positive commandments, and all the motive source for the 365 negative commandments. So without love and awe of God, the commandments have no permanence, as elucidated in Tanya. Only, like it says in Tanya, that the source of the positive mitzvahs is the love for God, and the source of the negative mitzvahs is the awe of God. Meaning, the more love for God, the more you'll go and do the positive mitzvahs, and the more awe of God or fear of God is the more you'll refrain from doing negative mitzvahs and not doing what you shouldn't. So the more you have it, the more you'll connect, and the more you'll do the mitzvahs, and the better you'll do the mitzvahs. So that's why you have to have the av and yirah. In order to have av and yirah, true love and fear, you have to meditate on it, meditate on God. Only through this will the light of Torah and the knowledge of God endure within him and be absorbed by and engraved on in his heart, in mind and heart. And only through that it will be really connected. And what he's going to explain is even more that when you daven, you can actually transform yourself and really work. You can work on the challenges that you have in your nefesh v'hamis, and that's the whole purpose to work in your nefesh v'hamis, to really change it to the extent that it can. And that's only going to happen through this meditative process. Thirdly, so the first is Avodah is working on ourselves to fulfill the mitzvah. Secondly, is only through the Avodah of davening, through contemplation, through meditation, and producing an Av and Yira it's going to actually, you're going to have that Av and Yira to serve God. And thirdly, the natural disposition of the animal soul can be purified and refined only by means of this avodah. Meaning to refine your nefesh b'ham is to really transform it, meaning to get it to the point that it's not as, so to speak, bad, or is not as selfish as it was until now. It's only through this. With that, and especially, and also have in mind that this is the times of the Rebbe Rashab. It's how the Rebbe Rashab was very much focused on need for davening. And I think the Rebbe sort of gave us a little bit other ways, maybe make it a little easier. But we should do this, especially if we can. Third, the natural disposition of the animal soul can be purified and refined only by means of this avodah. Without the avodah prayer, without davening, and really putting in the effort to daven and to meditate and to really think about God and connect with God and use things that we've learned, Maimarim and chapters of Tanya and things like this that we've learned, and we learn it again and really try to internalize it. Through that is really what makes the effect. So without the avodah prayer, they will never become purified and rectified in the least. The evil will remain as forceful as ever, as explained above at length, since they can be only ameliorated through the genuine service of prayer. Only through the genuine service of prayer. We explained before, by davening and thinking about what needs to be worked on and actually working on it and meditating about God. And that whole process is what's going to actually take the animal soul and really change him and put him in the right position. Whereas even if it seems like he's saying that, even if you daven by just concentrating on the words and what it means and really think about it, that will be good and it'll affect your day, but it won't have the ability to transform the animal soul in simple seems, because if you don't think about what needs to be corrected and you don't work on correcting it, it's not going to change. You might be more inspired through your davening. You might have that ability to not deal with it, but it's not going to be transformed, but only through thinking about it and working on it and davening with the issue and saying, hey, what's this issue? How can I work on it? And also understanding the meditative process you're doing to help you put yourself in the mindset to actually want to work on it properly and actually put in that effort to work on it. That's what needs to be done. And this is the purpose of the godly soul's descent into this world, to purify and rectify the animal soul. Hey, it's getting late. Let's finish it up. Top of 140. And this is the whole purpose, to work on your animal soul and to really refine it, to take ourselves and make ourselves the best people we can be. And not just give in to our desires and wants, but actually work on having that proper connection. Summary: the youth who have not studied Chassidus extensively are more prone to self-delusion. Therefore, they should subordinate themselves to the elders and should study in depth. The whole of their service in worship should focus on the first of the 5 preparations for prayer mentioned above in chapter 11, meaning they should daven in one spot and should concentrate on the words and the meaning of the words and really daven in thought out like a concentrated, meaningful davening.